We're going to jump back to 1809 quicker than you could ever imagine, okay? So, you know, because these families are big and people have children into their 40s, and so yeah, so once you find that your great-grandparents or great-great-grandparents were 40 when somebody was born, well, then you got to jump back that much further, and yeah, you're going to hit that 1809. You know, when you get to the point where you have found a, you know, it's like, okay, I found a marriage in 1822. You'll find it, okay, at 1822, and of course they'll be born 1801 and 1799 or something. So you'll have that year, but you wanted the date. Okay, when you've reached that point, you've done pretty darn well. And there does need to be a class about records called allegati, because the allegati records, now a lot of us have none of them, and a lot of us from Bari only have them starting in 1866. So you don't get anybody going back before 1809. You get a rare marriage where somebody is married for the third time and they're 70, and then they, you know, there's a allegati record. I'm going to explain what the allegati records are, but no time to cover them today. But these are and they're very complicated records, but here's what they are. Allegati records are supporting documents for any marriage. So step one is finding the marriage. Then you got to see, is there allegati for that year? Okay, and there might not be. Or the allegati, it's a pile of paper, it's random. Even the people filming it had no idea what it was. But what it is that, for example, the family that I showed you the marriage, 1878. So I would go to Trajano Allegati, 1878. I don't even know if the Allegati are on Matrimony Allegati. We'll have to, well, I guess let's check, shall we? I'm not going to look all the way through them.
Yeah.
Because it'll take too long, but they're really, really great records. See, there's no allegati on here, but they are on Family Search. So what you're going to find, I'm just going to explain this in 2 minutes. You're going to find a title page for that marriage. It's going to say, the marriage of Santo Liquido Nicola and Olivo Maria Lucrezia. When you find that page, start celebrating. Because the next thing you're going to find on the next page is the birth record, a copy of the birth record of Nicola Santo Liquido, the groom. Then you're going to find a copy of the birth record of the bride. If let's say Nicola had a father and the father had died by the time of that marriage, you're going to find a copy of the death record of the father. And or a death record of the bride's father. If either of them were widowed, you're going to find a copy of the death record of the previous spouse, because the point is, we have the proof that will allow this widowed man with kids and this widowed woman with kids to get married and make the Brady Bunch. You have a question?
Are you more likely to find allegati records if the person was a landowner than if they were a peasant farmer?
Peasants,
No
it's
difference.
very democratic, yeah.
Okay.
The problem is just that a lot of those records were not filmed or don't exist. But if you happen to find them for your town, for the year of the marriage of one of your ancestors, now the nightmare is that you got that one page that's a title page. The next record's a birth record. The next record's a birth record. The record after that might be a death. It's a birth, a death, a record, a certificate of poverty, povero. It's just random papers, but every one of them's a gem if you don't know the dates of these other people.
Okay, my half-educated Italian, allegati means connected. So these are connected documents to the wedding.
Yeah.
Can you spell that?
Allegatti.
That sounds pretty good.
Dan, are they listed chronologically or by last name of the groom, or both?
Or neither.
Or neither?
They are whatever order they. Sometimes they're in order by marriage date, sometimes they're in order by groom's surname, and sometimes they are all over the place, okay? So yeah, they're difficult, that's why I have not yet wanted to cover them in any detail. But boy, oh boy, are they great, helpful, awesome records if you happen to find them, so. If we have a class number 5 sometime,
See you next month.
we wanna, I need to take the summer off, I've got cemeteries to visit. But it's a topic that can easily, but like I say, the searching for them is quite difficult. So I wanna show searching by name in Antenati, since that's our main focus today anyway. Again, it's shaded, so it's hard to see that up here it says name, that's first name. And it's popping up with search things from my workplace, because that's you're gonna find that too in your browsers. So you got name, surname, location, and year, okay? So I'm gonna do my Santo Liquido. Now, I searched earlier, and I can do my wildcards, question mark for one character, asterisk for a bunch of characters. You can do that here. They don't really tell you that, but you can. So I'm gonna hit search and see what comes up. Again, these are gonna be basically the same searches that you are gonna find in Family Search, but it will bring you, but it's within this website, okay? Now we've got somebody from Naples, we've got a birth record from 1870, and I don't know who that is. So we got a lot of stuff. So over here, so I put in the name, limits here, let's take a look at the location. So we've got people from all these towns with that surname. And frankly, that surname, most of the time, is somebody who was left at the church doorstep. Okay, just because Santo Liquido is as a name that would have been given by the church more so than by the state. So I'm gonna hit Trajano because that's the one I care about, but there just happens to be a handful. Somebody tied in with me on old social media, we were making fun of AOL and Prodigy, I think it goes back that far. And he was Santo Liquido, and my family was Santo Liquido, so he presumed we were related. He's got an ancestor who is a different foundling left at the church in a different town. And mine is a foundling left at the church in a different town. So I said, well, I doubt that the same guy, created them both, but all right, we could be pretend cousins or something. I find enough real ones that I don't need pretend ones. Hey Dan, I think I might be your cousin. Well, prove it. I got things, I don't have enough stamps for the Christmas cards. I can't do this. So this is gonna be a little bit like Family Search, that when you get the search results, let me just bring that up. We'll leave that open. That's our happy event of the day for the moment. So we do search records. So you can just compare and contrast a little bit. So SANTOLI ? Because of Liquido looking alike. I kind of know how that's going to end up, and I'm going to put a place, I'm going to put Trajano. Okay, fine then. It's going to be annoying. Put an asterisk there, just so it's a different result. Okay, so basically, all right, so you see here on I gotta see if I have my settings, principal on record. This is a relatively recent addition. I don't even know if I talked about it, but on the left, you see all these people and it says Mariana Santo Liquido principal, another Mariana principal, and then you might get some, when you're doing any kind of a search on family search, some of the people, okay, here's a good example. Suddenly you have one that's a mother and you have one that's a father. So the idea is that the principal means that's their record, and then if it's father or mother, then it's their record as the parent of some other kid. So the Mariana from up here, way up here, this 1890 Mariana, that's her birth record. Down here, she's Marian Santoliquido, and she's birth 1907, that's incorrect, but she's having a child here. So it's the same person with two different records. Point is that, so you can limit your search down here. This is just something, you only want the principal. I'm only looking for birth records of Santoliquidos, so you can do that. I really don't think this was here during previous classes, so I'm just mentioning that as a side thing. So basically, the same kind of search results here. We have Nicola Santoliquido's son, Biagio Santoliquido, born July 5th, 1884, related act. And then here's Biagio as the principal. So they indexed it where, here's Biagio by himself. And again, remember that Antenati is an Italian website, so this is not May 7th, it's July 5th. I work with a German parent company, and I've gotten so used to writing my dates as day / month / year that then I do it here, and it confuses my American coworkers who think something should have happened on May the 7th when I'm telling them it's not happening till July the 5th. I can't, it's better, anything you write it down, the date, 3 letters for the month and the year, so there's no confusion what's what. So Biagio, so this is the same record. It says see call sign, that's an interesting way to put it. So, I want to see how this takes us. Birth record. So you see that takes us right in. So if you find it, you go right to the record. There's Biagio, it says July 6th, but down here it says Del Cinque, you can't see it. Now I do the very same record here, and it says you have to go to a family search center or an affiliate library for the 949th time I say that. So there is the exact perfect example of a good way to use Antenati. If you try to find them on family search and you get this, give it a shot over on Antenati, and you might have a shot at seeing the record the same day. Now I want to show you something else that's a bit annoying, but you need to know why it's doing this. If you right click, you notice none of these buttons says download. Would be nice. So I right click on here. Well, that's even better. It zoomed in even more. So I right click and say save image. Okay, so I say Santoliquido, Biagio, 1884 birth, Trajano. I'm doing that because I have so many hundreds, if not thousands, of images that just say download 48 or 2023-5-26. I just want to show you. Let's see if it works.
Is that a JPEG? I couldn't read it.
It was a PNG.
PNG.
What does PNG stand for? Photo not good?
No.
Well, in this case,
Low-res.
this is okay. What I just saved.
Yeah.
This is what was on the screen, and this is what it saved. Isn't that annoying?
Yeah.
Now, don't be like me and save 500 of these before you find this out. For whatever reason, okay, so if you zoom out, now this bottom part is a little bit like, you know, covered or whatever. And then this part here, okay, so I can see the entire record on the screen now. So I'm gonna save that one as Santo Liquido Viaggio 2. My antivirus is making sure, and I hit that, and now,
We got the whole record.
now I get the whole record, and I can, yeah. So, that's, again, that, so be advised that whatever's in that little square area, rectangular area, is all it's gonna save. So, as I always, see, that's got the whole record, zoom in, zoom out, do whatever you can, you know.
Can you save it as a JPEG or no? It doesn't give you the option.
It might, we'll try one. I mean, this will, but this is not the point. Okay, so I'll right click, save image. Now it says PNG or all files, so I don't know. It doesn't let me select JPEG, no, it certainly does not.
Thank you.
Well, screenshot is usually PNG.
Yeah, right, I mean, again, now this is, in here at least you can right click and save. The other issue with this one is that even if you can see this image, sometimes when you're up in the right and it says download, you get the little circle with the line through it. And so you can't even save it then. So here, we have this one. And I hit F11 sometimes to give me more screen area. So I can see things a little bit better. So here, so this one will let me download, which is good. So I can email this. Will let me print if I had a printer that I was connected to here. But you also have function, the window, and print screen. I think those are the three. I guess not, it doesn't tell me that. Control, that one, print screen. We keep trying till we get it right here. Could be Alt. It's gonna come up on one of these. Well, it's a Windows function to be able to do a screenshot if Family Search doesn't let you save it. I'll try to find that before the end of the day, but I'm not coming up with the right, might be, come on, it's one of these.
Did you do control print screen?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying, yeah, well, it's usually control with something else in print screen.
You already tried control alt, you said, right?
Yeah, it should pop up. Try every combo here until I get one right. None of them are popping up telling me that it did it. So, at any rate, well, we'll, that's a Windows help question, not a genealogy question, but you will run into that on Family Search if it doesn't, if the download button is blocked or the print button is blocked. Oops, no, that's something else. No, that's for setting up the screen. Okay, oh, that's right, I gotta get down there, okay. Since I don't know how the other one is, I don't know, you know, this one will be the same thing, but if you right click save image, it, yeah, again, it's only gonna give you PNG. I think you may have to open it as another kind of, or open it up and then save it if you wanna save it as a JPEG. I think PNG are a little bit better quality. You know, I'll just say that my dad is, he grew up during the Great Depression, or the tail end of the Great Depression, and so he still conserves like everything. To the point, it's like, Dad, you don't have to cut your napkins into 4 pieces anymore. We can afford napkins. I'll help you if you need help with your, you know. So, but yet, I worry about how big my files are gonna be, even though you can get a multi-terabyte killer of a hard drive to save this stuff into. and then go to the cloud and just pay for more storage there. So it's, see now here, this is exactly the position. Don't save your image like this or you're gonna get junk, okay? So just know that. See, I think copy image probably is, and by the way, I didn't put my email on the front. Let me leave that there. Scribble it on your handout. So if you have any questions, just put Casa Italia or anything like that, just so I see the email from amongst the many hundreds of emails that if I just give somebody my bank account, they're gonna deposit money in it. So I'm not, I apologize in advance for not getting back to emails as quickly as some people want me to, because sometimes I don't get through all of those Sri Lanka things that they're. See, now I copied image and I pasted it and it copied exactly what was in that area, so that tells you. So always make sure you have the entire image in the screen. So that's an important part of the interface, is that this isn't, I mean, you want to zoom in to see something, that's one thing, or you want to print it out and go, what the heck does this mean, or what does this say, and show it to somebody at the Family History Center, that's fine. But if you're going to save it as your permanent archival copy, well, you better zoom it out enough to be able to see it. And sometimes, okay, reset the zoom, that's the, you sometimes got to go backward to go forward, kind of a deal. Okay, so where were, no, that was something else. Okay, yeah, we were going through, okay, so, oh, that's right, searching by name. So let's go back. So we go back one more, so father and mother. So these are changing, so I'm gonna click on one of them and see what it does. So Maria Oliva on an active birth, the only one is Biagio. So Maria Lucrezia, if you remember, that's her name from her marriage record. Let's click Nicola and see what Nicola has. So clicking on those doesn't help you. It basically just brings you back to one of these pages. Copy link is, you can click on that, so it's copied the link to the clipboard, because you're going to want to save where these are. So this link takes you back to that record again. Okay, you got the same thing going on in Family Search, and you'll have a link there. So anytime you find a link and you find it at your record, save that link someplace so that you will be able to reproduce it. I always suggest, yeah, go ahead, copy your paper, save it as a JPEG or PNG, whatever it is, but if, you know, it just, so you can always go back to the image. If you're at a library, you don't have the papers with you. I used to see people go to the Family History Library in Salt Lake City, and of course I would get there a half hour before they opened, so I could get in early and get to a microfilm machine that I was comfortable with, because some of them don't work so well and all that. This is stuff you don't have to worry about anymore. But there would be so many people, and they would be carting a full basket of papers with them. I mean, they could barely pull it. And they were bringing all their, you know, and I'm like, I got this thing called a flash drive. Okay, now at the microfilm machine, there's no flash drive, but at my computer, I could plug one in, so I could see anything I wanted, and the computer itself had stuff on the hard drive, and I just thought, oh, what a waste. They're getting their exercise huffing and puffing, pulling that darn pile of paper around. I've probably got 30,000 pages of stuff. I would hope I don't have to cart that anywhere, you know.
So you save it into a Word file?
Save which, the image? The
No.
image will be a PNG.
No, the address.
Oh, well, I would put that with the tree. If your tree is on, oops, that's right, I put a Word file because I just wanted to put my email up there because a couple people asked for my email address. So you need to find whatever method you wanna use to organize this stuff, if you wanna keep because all this is a link.
Yeah.
Who's the link to? You can't tell, can you? It doesn't say dash Biagio Santo Liquido, it doesn't say it. So you might wanna go to your Biagio Santo Liquido record in your tree, assuming you have one, and find a field to put this in, or put it in a note field or something. It's gonna be, just so that it's always in the same spot, so that when you go to look for Biagio, then you go to look for Mariana, then you go to look for Fioravanti Santo Liquido, you get the link that goes to that record, okay? You need to find an organizational method for you that works for you. I've had to come up with methods because of the number of names I have that are kind of off the beaten track. Just, it's better to come up with your own way, but to put it in a Word file just by itself, see, now if you start typing in, okay, now you do that, now okay, luckily the link leaves him out. I think I have to write, how do I just wanna see it take me there, but now it doesn't wanna do it. Open hyperlink. So it took me right back to that page, and then I clicked the birth record to see the actual. See, I would think that you see where I clicked up here, this monstrosity of a URL? Click Control C, copy. Okay, now it's tiny, but you get the point. Well, that's really interesting, because the link is in there, but it put text. So Control click. I just want to see that it's going to take the link to. Okay, so Control click is asking me if I want to accept cookies and things, okay? Because I'm jumping into the program, not from their menus, I'm jumping in directly. So the link up here is the link you probably want. Let me see if I can zoom in on it. No, it won't zoom in there. If you see, it's hard to read. Antenati cultura.gov.it, and it's got an ARK colon. If it's got an ARK colon, Family Search has them too. That means that link should take you directly to that image. If everybody together, you're in a Family Search Center or a affiliate library. Antenati, you don't have to worry about that. The ARK will take you right to Noah, I guess. So open up a whole nother browser. Okay, so the search, like I say, the search record's here. Filio. So again, this system back in Family Search, you can click on that principal, and it will only show you Santo Liquido birth records, period. In this one, you see Nicola, then Biagio, then Nicola, then Mariana, then Nicola, then Mariana again, second Mariana. So Dad's listed 4 separate times here. Okay, that's a bit annoying too. I don't get name Nicola, Mariana, Biagio, Carmela. So yeah, I could click one of these names, that'll take old Nicola out of it as a search result. I don't want him as a search result, it's not his birth record. If I'm looking for his birth record, that's something else. Okay, so, and these are all, they all are Q, they're all spelled right. I thought some of them were Santo Liquido. And we got Oliva. Now I didn't search for Oliva, that's why she's not showing up. Here's Maria Lucrezia Oliva instead of just Maria. And here she's Olivo, it's all over the place. Okay, keep in mind that all of the indexing for these records is done by volunteers, and their intentions are good, but the handwriting is rotten. You've already seen some nasty handwriting just in these classes. You might have seen some on your own, and that's going to be a problem. You know, they put an O and they put a little loop on the end. Is that is it an A or an O? Well, if you weren't there when they wrote it in 1884, you might not know. And the indexer is not going to, they're trained not to make their own judgment call. Oh, well, since the sex on the record says masculine, that must be an O. They're trained not to do that. Because maybe it is an A. Might be santo liquida, but so it doesn't matter what the gender is of the child. So when you're searching, that's why I push the wild card so hard, because different people see the same records. You know, they give them to you in batches of 50 if they give them to you at all. And so this person does these 50 and it's santo liquida. This one says olivo, oliva. The results are going to be different all over the place. Just be ready for that. So when you're searching, I mean, it would really be nice if you have, if you could just search. Someday I want to be able to search by parent in either this site or in Family Search. And I don't always, you know, that it only covers the years that are indexed. If I could find the 19 Mafiola kids for her family, and I got 6 of them in my file because they're from a town off to the side from my town. So I don't have that many. So, you know, I would love to just be able to search for the parents, but here's all 19. And I get to enter them all in my file and then figure out all their marriages and deaths, you know. That's the hassle of doing descendant work. I would recommend, this is a side note, but I would recommend that if, you know, whatever you're gonna find, you know, just build your ancestor tree first, and then you might wanna say, all right, I wanna find the brothers and sisters, all the children of each of these families, because it'll give you a true picture of what's going on. You know, to have 19, that family in Franklin Park I'm related to that had 20 here in Chicagoland, all that kind of stuff. So, just, you know, it's a good thing to do, and you go sequentially. It's like, okay, they got married in 1878. If I wanted all the kids of Santo Liquido, they got married in 78. So I'm gonna go working my way forward. The problem is that you don't know when the parents passed away necessarily at that moment in time. I didn't find out till later that Nicola died in 1910 and his wife died in 1911. They were in their mid-50s. They were certainly done with kids, you know. So to know which kids are all in one family, you just sort of need to go forward. And several things will stop them from having children. One is, one of them dies. The other one is, one of them came over to America. That's a long distance, ain't making no babies, you know. No, my great-grandfather came over in 1907, and the rest of the family didn't come over till 1914. So there's a 7-year gap of children. So it, you know, and that's part of the story, you know. And the one kid didn't meet his father until he came over in 1914. He was born in Italy while his father was in America. He was conceived in Italy properly, and the timetables work out. That's a different set of stories altogether. So, are there any questions about Antenati? I want to show you some of the record formats. I showed you a little bit, but I'll show you some more of that stuff until we can't stand it anymore. And again, if you've got individual questions about anything, let me one more time throw the email address up there so that, you know, send this to me. And again, if I, you know, poke me in the ribs a second time and say, hey, you didn't answer my question, that does happen sometimes. Depends on, I tell my boss at work, I say, boss, I've got emails to answer from my Italian genealogy lectures. He's not too thrilled with that answer. So. It doesn't mean I won't do it, it's just, you know.
He's probably not Italian.
He's not Italian. My boss, my immediate boss is from Palestine, refugee to Jordan,
Wow.
went to Poland and met and married his wife there while he was going to college.
Yes.
So he's a Palestinian Jordanian who speaks fluent Polish. I'm not kidding. I wish I spoke fluent Polish because he wouldn't have known that, and I would have heard him say to his wife, that little blah 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 that works for me in Polish, and I'd have been like, okay, gotcha.
Put your foreign translate.
Yeah, right. It would say, dirty word, can't say that one. So,
Okay, do you want to go to questions that might be shared by,
that's, yeah, I was
Various-
kind of asking about the, Antenati related questions. Like I say, it doesn't matter whether you're looking for births, deaths, marriages, all those little widgy icons are in here, and they work exactly the same way on any of those screens. And you see that by searching for the name, I'm just curious, when it says see call sign, I have no idea what that really means, but it always takes us here. And you gotta click on birth record or marriage record, whatever it is.
how is that spelled, C-call?
Yeah, this is what let's change see call sign, let's change it to that. And of course it restarts it again. All right, that's okay.
Well, Cherka means search.
Well, yeah. Now I wanna just see what that result looks like. That's interesting.
What did it say the server
It
was?
said I can't, I didn't put the SANTOLIQUIDO. You have to put all the letters in, not just the ones you like.
Okay.
Vedi il nominativo. That's what it's supposed to say,
What?
and it says search call sign. I don't know.
Or see the name, no big deal.
So that's what that says. If I tell it to go to English, it's gonna go back to the main page again. And again, that's just something you should know, that when you change languages, it's gonna take you right back to the home page. I wish it didn't do that. So that's what that, new search, relevant, search by relevance. You can change that to name, backward, forward, or surname, backward, forward. So, yeah, so back here, but yeah, search call, whatever, I don't. Come on, Dan.
Now that online consultation belongs to Family Search?
What are you referring to?
The this one, access to civil registries that's online consultation.
That's what it always says, yeah.
That's the Italian,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not pushing too much family search, cause we've done that in some of the other
Oh,
classes,
okay.
but again, the records being the same. I'm gonna use this one here to show a little bit more of the, partly because again, the older records can't be viewed here yet, or at all, unless they're, then freed up. I'm gonna tell you about another kind of index that can be helpful. It's on page 5 of the handout that looks like this. The front page is an index. You will occasionally see in your catalog on Family Search, I don't think you'll see it on Antenati. It's called Indici Decennial Index. They started, I think they realized that it was difficult for even them to find a name when they didn't know the exact year of the event. So they started making these 10-year indexes. And so it's 1875 to 84, 85 to 94. They might be available in your town, they might not be available in your town. It's hard to read on the copy, but it sorts the names in true alphabetical order, unlike the index of the main town. At least the surnames are in alpha. The first names might be all over the place. So page 5, the numbers that are on the left is the record number for that year. So they're skipping all over the place. The surname, the first name. Paternità, so you've got the father's first name. Pretty much anytime you see these indexes, they give you the baby's name with the surname, so they don't bother to repeat it again for the father. It's the same name. So they have a little column for the dad, and then the maternità, of course, then they've got the mother and her maiden surname. And I'm sure I've mentioned this in the other classes, but I'm going to repeat it here. From birth, marriage, death, even cemetery burial, if you get back to the homeland, she's going to be by her maiden name. You will occasionally find some of them buried with a death record in Chicago with their maiden name, even though they were married for 50 years and they had kids, because they weren't here long enough to find out, oh, we've got a different system here in the States. Okay? So sometimes it's like, I know grandma was here and she died in 1930 and I can't find her at Mount Carmel or anywhere else. Well, check the maiden name. Even here. I mean, if you run out of all other options, spelling errors and so forth, you will trip over them that way.
Oh, how do you find out for sure? I was looking for my grandfather in Amazzano, which is near Frosinone, and I couldn't find the records for it. Amazzano used to be known as San Lorenzo, but I couldn't find out whether there were records for Frosinone, but I couldn't find anything for Amazzano.
Well, one way to find out what's out there, when you put in the name, I presume Frosinone is a province, not a region, right?
Yeah, it's a province.
Okay. So you put in the name of the province, and by itself might not be much. It's got some kind of a directory from telephone. So you get the telephone book from 1982.
Oh, I don't think he's in there.
No, I don't think so either. But you know what? I found a few phone numbers that were helpful when they got a map of the province. But you see here, places within Italy, Frosinone.
Okay.
And then you get a whole, if you're lucky, you get a bunch of them.
Is there an Amazzano there?
Right, Amazzano with an S.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So, but if you're having trouble with the spelling of one of your town names, this is a good way to drill down, if you will, from the province. So let's click Amazzano and see. Civil registration. Not a whole lot. 1875 to 1896. That may be helpful for you. It may not be helpful by the date.
I think it's 1877 that he was born.
Okay. So here's births 75 to 85. There's that key, which means you can't look at it here.
Oh, okay.
Another reason to become a affiliate library. Here's the look, 75 to 85, 95 to 96, so it skips a bunch. 1 year's worth of marriage bans and 2 years worth of deaths. This area, either the records got wiped or somebody blew it filming them. You might get lucky with that birth record, 77, if it happens to be in there, but some of you, I guess this is a good point. Some of you may run into this. You're going to find out that your town only got filmed as late as 1865, or only goes back to 1865, or is not even in here. And that's within the bounds of possibility. Way up in the north, feel bad for you northern Italians, because they jumped right in when Napoleon actually physically came in and said, I want records to be kept, 1809. And then when they kicked Napoleon out in 1815, they kicked out everything to do with Napoleon, including the records. The South started keeping the records because that was the law, but they weren't quite so directly trashed by anything Napoleon did. So when they got rid of Napoleon, they kept the records. That's good for us. those of us who come from the family comes from the south. But
I'm
if
sorry,
you,
did you say those were locked for everybody, those accounts?
when they're locked, when they have that locked, that means that because this room is not a family history center or an affiliate library, I can't view these,
Oh,
okay? So, when I go here, I get this nasty little screen that says, sorry, bud. So, you gotta go to the local center or affiliate library to see them. So to try to look at these, you gotta go to Chicago Heights somewhere.
how would we make this an affiliate library?
There's a process for it, but it's a question of,
Costly?
no, as far as I know, it's free, but, I don't want to speculate that it's going to or not going to happen. That's a decision of whoever's running the show here, but I'll be more than happy to plead my case to anybody who wants to hear it, so that when they want to work on the records, they'll have those little keys will be removed. I want to do this at home, and they won't let me. Well, if I became a family history center, then people would be knocking on my door day and night. I gotta look up some records. Come on.
You wouldn't have enough memory to keep of all the ones that are knocking at your door. either.
Yeah, well, I'd have to get a very loud sound of my neighbor's dog. And they'll be like, oh, we better come back another day. So, I don't know. But that's the limit of here and your house. You're gonna get the same results at your home. But if you try to find a town and you don't see anything, search in the province. Now in this case, there's no civil records. I will show you, because I know what the answer is gonna be. See, now when you see Bari Bari, that's gonna be the city.
Baricentro.
But here I just want the province, which is just Italy, comma, the province name. Civil registration, okay? Registri dello Stato Civile di Bari Provincia, 1866 to 1929. Now that's a little bit of a fooler. Let me just show 974 microfilms, but they're not microfilms anymore.
Right.
So it's got links to all the towns in the province, which is this stuff here, but you don't need to worry about that. So there's 10 pages worth where they put the births, marriages, and deaths 1901 to 1929 with limitations here. You see, even here, I can see them right here in the building, which is why I was able to find Conversano. Bloody luck there. So you see how this Nati, Santaramo, Trigiano, Torito, Turi, Santo Spirito, Valenzano, 1901, and then Acquaviva, etc., 1902. So this one film's got all these different towns in it, all birth records, and then from 2 different years. That's why it's so hard to know where you're at when you're within this film number. What town am I on? I gotta read that from the record. What year am I on? Is it a birth record? Well, luckily, these are all birth records. So this goes on and on. It's got bands, town by town by town. So my point is that if you search for your town, as you did, and you don't find the records there, check under the province, because maybe that's where they're cataloged. They should catalog them the same way. I should be able to go to Trigiano, Conversano. Each town should have all of these separately cataloged under the name of the town. I don't know why they cataloged them this way, and I've never found the right person in Salt Lake City to say, what were you thinking? Okay, you know, they probably have a library reason why they were cataloged this way that's absolutely valid, but it's confusing to those of us who use it. So it's you know, just know that if you're, you know, and again, I know that if your family, how many are from, whose family is from way up in the north? I mean,
Oh, wait, no, not where.
yeah, no. And then center, kind of the Papal States area, not much, and south, okay, see that, the numbers I've ever heard have typically been that Americans of Italian descent, it's about 80% south.
Oh.
Okay, and that's good for us as researchers, because that's where most of the records are from. It also, Basilicata, for some reason, I'd call that south, certainly isn't north, it's kind of in the middle south. And they filmed a lot of stuff 1809 to 1865. Well, darn, if I don't have a grandfather who was born before 1865, for example, how would I find it? Okay? So, it's sometimes you gotta make a leap over the record. I've got a column coming out for Fra Noi. I'm not sure when it'll hit the website, but it goes into some of this stuff about that when you search for something and you can't find it. You just say, I'm looking for Trajano, and darn it, they don't have the records, or Aliceno, whatever. What do I do next, okay? Well, at that point, try Antenati just on the off chance if Family Search doesn't have it, but if you don't find it on one, you're probably not gonna find it on the other, okay? So that at that point, you should, again, get on social media and look for people who have already gone through the pain. What do I do now? How do I find an 1877? If I find the 1877 birth record, how do I get to the 1850 birth record for his father? Okay, can't do it with what I just showed you. So at that point, then yes, you are doing the hard work of writing a letter to the civil records office of that town. Because as I was describing before, and this may be the point I lost my place in, they wrote the records in the individual town, then they wrote a new copy of the records and they sent them to the provincial archive. Maybe the guy never finished, maybe the guy didn't do that project, okay? Maybe nobody had time to do it. So when they went to the provincial archive looking for his town, there's hardly any records there, because the flunky that was supposed to do that work didn't feel like it, or they lost the copy, or who knows what reason. So you're gonna run into that stuff. I'm giving you all these wonderful tools if the records are out there. That's the easy part. If the records are not out there, like I say, if you look for the records and they're not out there, yeah, definitely throw me an email or check the provincial, check under the province. I know that Turin is very well kept, but it's all under Turin, it's all under Torino. I can't speak for the north because I don't do a lot of stuff with those records, but if you're trying to find stuff and it's just a no hope, then, then the trick is gonna be, yes, then you gotta do this the slow way. Just imagine what this was like before there was Antenati or Family Search. People just wrote a letter, hoped it would get there, hoped that when they got there, somebody would, I'm not gonna pick on the civil records people. I've had very good luck on the few times I've written to them when it was very early on and this stuff didn't exist. I wrote some letters, I got answers very quickly. I asked if it cost any money, they said no. Good for me, but just the process is gonna be, I want my father's birth record. And write the letter. If you write it in English, I can almost guarantee you what garbage can it's gonna end up.
English.
Yeah, heard that you, yeah.
The Antenati site, is it free or is it a fee?
Absolutely free. Oh yeah, if I got a piece of the action of either of these websites, I do 50 more talks. So, no, Antenati, you don't even need a login. Okay, you just use it. Family Search, you need a login, but that's mostly because if you put stuff in a tree, it's your tree. Yeah.
A nice lady in Pizzara del Vallo actually sent me back the money and sent the record, or a transcript of the record,
You're still gonna get the estrato,
a
yes.
sort of an extract of the record. who the father was, who the mother was, and, you know, the birth date.
Well, just, imagine this process. Now, my grandfather, I would have had to write to Trajano and say, I need my grandfather's birth date, or birth record, and I would have given him the birth date that we had in the family. Okay, number one, it's wrong. By a few days. Now, they might say, I didn't find Domenico Laturi born August 15th, 1905. He's born August 6th. They might say, I didn't find it. You asked for this, I gave you what you asked for, and it's not there. You might get that letter, if you get the letter at all. Or they might say, nope, it wasn't him. Okay? And I think I showed you in a previous class that they put the wrong number on the index for him. He's off by 100 digits. So they'd have looked in that number, and he's not even there. So there's many reasons they could be less nice than your person was, okay? I like I say, I had good luck with it, but you do that for him. Now you get his parents. Then you need the birth record of the parents. Now, then you get 4 more parents. Now you gotta write 4 more letters, 4 more, but I guarantee you how I'd feel if I were in that town, coasting along and just taking care of real business, which is new events, and going, this American genealogical pain in the, I can't say it. You know what I mean. So, and that does happen sometimes. Somebody I knew was, they were gonna write to Carbonara. They found me first, thank goodness. This is 20-some years ago. They were gonna write to Carbonara and ask them for the birth records of every Abenanti in the town of Carbonara.
Not enough paper.
I said, hold the phone on that request, because when I wanna write to Carbonara, I know what they're gonna tell me after they get your letter. Don't do that. So, but anyway, the Fra Noi column explains a little bit of what you do when you're really trying to find stuff and you don't find it.
Your column, I found 3 or 4 of your columns, back columns, but I couldn't find, I know you've been doing it for 10 or 15 years. I couldn't find the whole slew of them.
I'm not sure how many are on the website, because that kind of go from the time when I was writing it in the big Fra Noi newspaper version. It was there.
Yeah.
When they went to the magazine version, and then they said, okay, you're gonna get the little strip explaining your column, and then you go to the website to get to it, that's probably the only stuff. Now at the very bottom of, what the heck? So Fra Noi's website, columns, now it was called, now it's Pursuing Our Roots. It had a different name when it was in the newspaper. Okay, so just to
I was
just to
searching
scroll
on your
just to
name.
scroll down, that they have 11 pages.
11 pages. Oh, that's a lot more. I just searched on your name, and I only got 4 or 5 of them.
Okay, well,
That looks like it's a better. So
this is
Pursuing
definitely,
Our Roots for.
I should ask if there's a way to get, because I think I have a complete set of all my columns.
Digital.
But some of them, well, no, ironically, it would be either the physical newspaper copy or a scan of it. But it would be frustrating if some of that stuff is so out of date,
Yeah.
Even some of these are out of date. But anyway, yeah. So if you're trying to find any columns of mine, it's Fra Noi columns, Pursuing Our Roots, which is down, and we have another columnist in our room. CJ, which one's your column?
Petals from Rosen.
Petals from Rosen. Okay, so you can see his. Let's see how far down. 16.
16 pages?
He's
or
got 16 pages full of columns, yeah.
Okay, so that's.
Yeah, I had some during the COVID period, I couldn't go to any libraries and do any research, so there was nothing to write about. So I've got some months that are missing, that's why he's got more than I've got. But at any rate, did you search it here on the search thing? Just if you're looking for a particular subject,
Okay.
at any rate.
Yeah, if there are questions you think that other people might have too, ask them now for about 10 minutes, and then I want to have a 10-minute discussion of where we go from here, and with genealogy at the Italian Cultural Center. And then individual consultation can go on as long as our
long as
leader
I'm
is
awake.
available.
Do you have any of the previous week's handouts here?
Yes, we do. Somewhere, I think, I don't know, do you know where
I
they
think we've run out, but,
Oh,
I'd be
okay.
happy to email it to you.
Okay. How's that?
And
We had a good turnout.
we do have some physical ones in a file drawer in the library, yeah. I look there, ask in the library at the end of the event.
Yeah, and if you were not able to make or you wanna see,
I'd be happy to email them to everyone that registered for the course. Okay, that's easy.
okay, yeah, if you didn't see, the videos are still up on your YouTube page, correct?
Yeah, you have to look for them using Dominic Candeloro or Dan Niemiec, but we have not annotated them as much as I would like, or as well as I would like. So you're gonna have to just click and
And where would we look for that?
go
His
to
YouTube
YouTube,
page.
go to my
What's your name?
channel, Dominic Candeloro channel. It should be Casa Italia Library, but somehow I was unable to do that. But there, you can see all my family stuff too if you want. Anybody, any other questions? Okay. Well, first let's go to you, Dan. What's your availability and what are your thoughts about continuing this group?
Well, I guess I'm not sure. It would depend on questions from the people that are here, from people who have not made it to any of these yet. It might be easier to pick out, an occasional Saturday and just be available here for, one-on-one. Because everyone's gonna have a different spot where they get stuck. And the people who've come to all four of these have already gotten stuck and come up to me and worked with me on a few things, as opposed to me bloviating.
Mm-hmm.
And then the summertime, it's a little bit tougher for me right now. We originally said 4 of these, so I don't mind, coming in. I don't know if Saturday's convenient for opening the building.
Mm-hmm.
From that point of view, I can't come during the Wednesday afternoon when you guys are already open because I work then. So
Yeah. Is everybody comfortable, say someone wanted some individual consultation, would you be willing to let everybody else hear that consultation so that they could maybe learn from it?
So in other words, working one-on-one, but filming the exchange kind of a deal?
Or having people in the audience right there so that they can hear what the specific question was. Maybe they have something similar that they're dealing with, or maybe they have even an answer to it, or maybe they're a cousin or something. Does that seem... Yeah.
Well, a workshop, we've talked a little bit about that concept. We have to make sure that we have enough internet to support if people brought their own computers in, because that'd be the only way. It's not like we have 35 computers to hand out. I think we probably need to discuss, just go over what are the possibilities amongst ourselves and then come up with something that'll be,
Well,
you know,
one
useful.
solution could be to use hotspots, to bring your phone as well. I don't know how expensive that is or not.
Professor, at my library, at LaGrange Library, they rent out, you could borrow a hotspot for 3 weeks, so I'm sure it's in suburban libraries.
Well, we've got this little bugger here, which is to, you know, to make sure, because I actually had a problem at one of the earlier talks. It wasn't coming up with the search results or whatever, so now I'm like dependent upon that. I've got my own if they didn't have this one. So, but to put a bunch of people's computers on simultaneously, I don't know how that would, probably one way to find out, try it.
Yeah.
It'll be a science experiment.
I guess, I don't know, yeah. But, from that point of view, yeah, but if, you know, it's not like everybody would be simultaneously searching at the same moment if I'm gonna be showing people something that I'm doing for one person and they're looking and they can try to do it on their own. We can just try it, and the worst thing it's gonna do is be slow, you know?
How likely would you be to come if we scheduled it the last Saturday of the month? It could be perhaps a short presentation followed by an hour and a half of consultation, individual consultations open to the whole group. Okay. How many won't ever come again? Okay.
Is there a possibility of becoming, this group becoming, like a Casa Italia genealogical society?
Oh.
Where you then, you know what I mean, you have like a foundation here where, you know, we share the videos that you have that you've been taping, and you know, so someone could come in and say, oh, we're gonna meet every Wednesday night at 10 or whatever, and then anybody that has something to say, or, you know what I mean, it may be in our best interest to organize like that.
We had, there used to be a group called Pointers. There was a national group, and then it broke into smaller sub-chapters by city. The Pointers group, the band that founded it passed away, so the Pointers group has kind of faded off, but it's basically exactly what you're talking about. Just a bunch of people come in, it's about Italian genealogy. Yes, we might talk about something that applies to other ethnicities that might be helpful to anyone in the group. And yeah, I ran the North Suburban chapter of that for quite a while, then my dad's health took a downward turn, and he's fine now, but at the time I can't run the group. You know, we would basically, at the time we met in Schaumburg once a month, and everybody would come in with their questions, and new people, hey, how far are you, where are you, what are you looking for? And yeah, it would be more of an interactive discussion group than you know, once in a while we would get a guest speaker to come in and give us some clues on things that may be beyond my, you know, expertise or whatever. So it's something, it's worth a discussion, sure.
Yeah, well,
Good idea.
I think the basic thing is that we'd have to organize around the availability of Professor Niemiec.
Most definitely.
Were you thinking of just like, what if we start learning on our own and we share, so you don't have to be tied to coming? Like you said, you might be available the last Saturday.
No, I would.
Would you be open to that, or?
I would be, the, only because of the distance and the weather, winter would be kind of tough.
Sure.
If I were kind of the, you know, I won't say the host, that's Dominic and Casa here, but if I'm kind of the leader, whatever you wanna call it, I would feel guilty when I'm gonna call and say, well, there's 16 inches of snow, you know, that part of it. So it might be that we skip the worst of the winter months and maybe skip a summer month or two because people are just doing other things, but other, you know, meet 8 out of 12 months might not be so bad, yeah.
These are good ideas. Just a lot of things that work online, like you've just got a dedicated Facebook, the group that is private to this group. You can make of the things that come up you could solve via that, so you don't even have to go there, it's all online. I see these things all the time, and it's actually sort of fun that if I know something, I can just say, oh yeah, I got that, and I can post that immediately. They've got the answer, they wanna follow up, I can follow up with them. But it's really efficient that way. It doesn't mean it supplants this.
Well, it would be, yeah, it would be an adjunct to the group, it would, you know, that, okay, not to say don't come, but if you can solve your problem, if we're gonna meet once a month, and you don't wanna wait 28 days to see something, put it online and see what people say about it, yeah.
And it's free.
Well, this would, you know, basically be too, you know, it's,
Well, it's just the driving.
well, yeah, right.
That's right. But this is really nice, just interacting with each
Right,
other.
right, it's a different sort of learning.
Oh my gosh, I'm
But
loving this.
you could do this every day, every hour, you know. depending on
Or not.
how it is.
In your underwear. Like you said, in your own.
Different
Somebody said
group,
that.
different group altogether.
Yeah.
What genealogy?
Okay.
Well, that's something, like I say, that we can talk about as a group of
This is exciting.
folks here that are tied to here and see what's the best way to do something, but yeah, that would just make it, I'd like it to be more interactive. The creation of these programs and the handouts is it's a major undertaking, it really is. So I wouldn't mind just winging it.
I think we need time to implement what we've learned.
Yeah.
Well,
Before, let's jump on getting together again, it's like, we need to implement what we learned, we don't know, I have 24 hours a day at our disposal to sit at a computer. and do
yeah,
this.
well, there might be people who didn't come to any of these,
Yeah.
who are ahead of all of us.
Yeah.
And they might wanna, you know, I wanted to get a group together of, you know, people that, I know 4 or 5 genealogists who are way beyond me, and they've been at this, you know, same number of years, they've got certification, they give lectures everywhere like I do, and it's like, I want a group like that, just for us to say, these are the most difficult, nastiest, most horrible brick walls that we could ever run into, and let everybody, you know, I mean, you know, graduate level genealogists, basically. Not really, that's not something that tied to this, just something that it's like, I wish I could get them together, but they're all so busy and they fly around the country and, but we can do our own thing like that.
If I hear us, the sense of the group, Dan would like the summer off, and the winter off.
We just gotta get an apartment. Dan, we have to subsidize an apartment.
If one of
for
you
here.
can find me a job like 2 miles from here,
Yeah.
we can meet twice a week, okay? But I get paid a lot.
Hey Dan, how big is your basement?
Uh,
Large family room?
Non-existent.
Huh? What?
There's a bedroom upstairs.
Yeah, there is.
On the 3rd floor.
There, also
Better put
there's
an elevator.
a need, a desire to have a private Facebook page on which to exchange information, and need for maybe a possible organization that is independent and run by the group here, rather than from the top down with Cosby-Tyke Library. Someone else have a comment? Was there a comment? Yes.
I think, you know, organizing and then starting to meet in the fall, the idea of a Facebook group that is private could be something that could be started right now if somebody had the motivation to set it up, and then people could begin to stay in touch.
Okay.
And it could build as the group sort of builds.
Anna, do
Could
we
be a
have
place where the
everybody's
files
email
If
could be
address?
put-
you've signed up for today's class, yes, I have your email address.
Okay, so,
So we can make a Facebook group,
Yeah.
private, send invitations only to the people who've attended
Yeah.
the 4 classes,
I'm a
and
member.
then go beyond that.
okay, Facebook has me flummoxed. I have 3 Facebook pages, and I never know who I'm acting as. So I don't wanna, if someone wants to take the initiative, you wanna take the initiative? Okay,
They can do
well,
that.
I would be glad to help also if anything.
Okay,
Just to
well,
set the page up and, set some ground rules, no, advertising for, what, I mean, any group's gotta have some limits from that point of view, but we just invite the people that are part of it and, part of this, and then go from there.
okay, I hear us wanting to end this session. We can go into the workshop mode as long as, Dan, do you need a break?
I always need a break.
Okay, well, Dan's gonna take a break, and then, when he comes back, we'll do individual consultations.
I'm gonna slide up there and talk to him.
Okay, don't let me go to the back.
Yeah.
Maybe there may not be. So this is